All right, mic check, mic check. Are we live?
We're live.
Well, happy Sunday, everybody. You know, Highway 54 is in the house. We got a special guest. I'm not introduced them. You can see them right now. But we've got, an awesome topic about their business and what they do for the public. And we want to share their information and how they started their business. But happy Sunday, everybody. It's June. Today's June?
Yes, you.
Yes.
My mind's
Like
in
9
May.
days.
Yes, Christmas is around the corner. We're really in June now. Going broke again. Well, welcome everybody. We got a good show today, and stick around. But be sure to subscribe, like, share, and chime in if you need to. We've got we're open to questions later on after do the interview. So welcome back everybody, and stay tuned.
Down at those who left me, promise I'm not being petty. I'm the one they envy, Brody moving state to state, make $1 million out to send me. Plus I grinded from the start. I was stacking pennies, I might dip like Machiavelli. After the confetti, who ready? We ready? Who ready? We ready? Who ready? Who? We ready? Who? Who ready? Who? We ready? Who? Who ready? We ready? Who ready? We ready? Who ready? Who? We ready? Who? Who ready? Who? We ready?
The ongoing series about the life of the people touched by the love of the Pacific. Here are their stories. This is Highway 54.
Highway 54, what's up, family? Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Also, we got About That Wallet co-founder, Coach Anthony, Carla D3. Today, we've got a special guests, D3's Air Force buddy. Let me introduce from Your Health, Your Way, Coaching and Consulting, Treva and Vincent Mitchell. Is that right?
Yes, you're right. Thank you so much.
You don't know me. I'm bad with names.
Yes. I was still going, man.
Great. So, D3 has served with Vincent at the old active duty. Now it's a reserve, National Guard or reserve base? March Air Force
Base, I believe.
Yeah, Vincent. So, of course, Vincent, thank you for your service. And I'm sure we'll share some stories from your Air Force days. I almost went reserve with March Air Force Base when I got out back in 2007. Yeah. I got out after 9 years, and was looking for a reserve base, but trying to stay in Japan. And nobody was like, "No, you got to come back to the States." Like, no, I ain't coming back. So I stayed 16 years in Japan.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. So, Vincent, Treva, tell me about your business. I have your website up, but I feel like we were talking earlier about the health crisis that that's happening here, not just in the nation, but around the world. So, tell me about why you started and all about your business.
Okay. All right. I'll start off. Well, my wife and I, let's say that, but she started the business. I piggybacked on her, so I'm gonna let her tell the story, and I'll tell my contributions to it as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So, hi guys. Thanks for having us. So Your Health Your Way was started just out of really for me out of frustration. I've been in healthcare now for 21 years. 11 years as a registered nurse, and now 10 years as a nurse practitioner. Actually, 22 years this year. Yeah. So I need to add on this year. So one of the things, and I'm a family nurse practitioner, so one of the things that I saw at the beginning of my career was that I felt like it was almost like herding cattle. And I hate to say that, but that's what it felt like. And what that meant was we would have a high volume of patients to see, and we had to get them in and get them out. But, patient after patient, when they come in with things like high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol, these chronic problems, and you're going in and you're spending 10 to 15 minutes with them, and you say, okay, your cholesterol is high, your diabetes is out of control, lose weight and change your diet, and then you're on your way. But they have this look on their faces like a deer in headlights, if that makes sense. So one of the things that I wanted to do with Your Health Your Way, it was really created out of a need to empower people to be concerned about their health. You probably wouldn't know how many people will say to you, well, my doctor manages that, oh, I don't know what I take or why I take it. They just gave it to me. And I think it's very important for you to know why you have stuff, not just because the doctor said you need it, but why do I need this? In asking those probing questions, and a lot of people don't do that. So Your Health Your Way was that was the root of it. But our primary focus is holistic health and wellness, with an emphasis on weight management. Obesity is the real pandemic, and it is affecting all generations at this point. From childhood on to adulthood, seniors, everyone. So that's kind of where we started at. It's called coaching and consulting. In the past few years of me focusing on weight loss, people come in through the doors and they say, I want to lose 50 pounds. And, as I begin to dig and ask those questions, life is intersecting and it's affecting them in ways that they have not connected the dots. And what I mean by that, Vincent and I was considered the sandwich generation, and you guys probably are too, which means y'all have families, you may have children and your own selves in the middle. So you're managing two things. So a lot of my clients would be doing the same thing, but not recognizing it's the taking care of mom and dad, making sure they're okay, taking care of the kids have a schedule and all of those things. So all of these things in terms of us doing trying to focus on those things is kind of where it all started at. So with those patients coming in, when they do come in, especially those ladies that come in with their parents and they have questions about their care. My mom's in the hospital. What do I do next? I found myself calling him on the phone a lot of times, asking questions. I have a patient here with X, Y, and Z problems. What do they do? And then he would say, well, have them do X, Y, and Z, and then they get it done. So we would be doing this unofficially anyway. So when I did this, he's like, well, I'm going to just, come in and do seniors with you. And I was like, no, we're going to keep it separate. And he's like, but it makes sense to keep it together because we're dealing with the baby boomers right now. And then, like I said, we're in the middle, and then the kids that's coming up behind us. So that's kind of how we got started.
Nice. Yeah, that was definitely a necessity, to say the least.
Yeah,
definitely a necessity. So one thing we kind of wondered too, I know both of you being in a, like you said, in the healthcare profession for so long, one thing that we kind of wondered was, how do you help somebody to see their potential, number one, but number two, how do you get somebody out of the rut of making a New Year's resolution every year and then not being consistent with it after about a week or a month or two? How do you actually give them that, help them to maintain that confidence?
Right. It's difficult sometimes. And when I say that, sometimes people have to hit a wall, that proverbial wall, that health wall. When they do that, they're ready. And when they're ready to go, they are more open to making those changes. But sometimes just, being honest, I like to be honest with my patients and kind of give them the in to say, okay, if, what's going to happen if we don't do this? I think a part of the frustration for most people, and with failed New Year's resolutions, the resolve is to make a change, but change doesn't happen overnight. It takes weeks, months, days, years sometimes to make a change and stick to it. And it's really a lifestyle, and it's a pattern of behaviors that needs to be addressed in order for you to be successful. So setting realistic expectations and managing expectations is a part of what I do. And what that means is sometimes you have to celebrate those small scale victories. Rome wasn't built in a day. Nobody gained 50 pounds in a short period of time. Is just over time, it's compounded for most people, not excluding medical conditions that may cause you to gain weight that quickly. But helping people to understand how things work. And that has been, life-changing for most of the clients that we've worked with.
So I'm looking at your website and listening to you also, and just trying to grasp so that, people who don't really understand. So you guys would add as a second opinion, or maybe like a lawyer. Like, for example, I don't know anything about the law. I'm in trouble. They tell me to sign this and do that. Is this where you come in and say, hey, I saw my doctor. They're recommending me to do this, this, and this. This is my goal. And then you and Vince come in and say, okay, let me look at your stuff, and then consult them with the plan that the doctors give you. And then it's pretty much like a second opinion, pretty much, but also trying to explain to them all the jargons and why they're doing this. And then also no, you don't need to do that.
You know what? You hit it on the head. I would say that, yes, you did. I mean, if you're reading our website, you're definitely hitting it on the head. I mean, we have people who call, and Treva will talk to them mostly about if they don't understand things about their diagnosis, their medication, different things like that. So if they don't understand that, so Treva consult them on that to help them to understand it better. Like I said, the medication, the diagnosis, a lot to do. I would say a lot to do with medications, right?
And patient education.
And patient education as well.
And people are afraid to talk to their doctors. So a lot of it is also they don't have that. How can I say? I used to get in trouble with my first job. My doctor would tell me, "You're too relational. You're too relational." I'm like, I know, but because I'm relational, I know things about these people that they would never share. Patients would tell me stuff. Because I ask those questions. How's life treating you? And I'm asking questions that are not your typical medical questions, because I understand the things in the background matters more than the things that they're telling you. So yes, we do this, and we would be consulting y'all before we even started this and didn't know we were doing that. People would go to the doctor, and then they would call me and say, my doctor said do X, Y, and Z. And they'll try to explain. And I'm like, well, what did the doctor say? I don't know what he said. He was talking to me. Exactly. I didn't understand, and I didn't want to ask because I didn't want to feel like I was stupid or, not knowledgeable. So don't. So I have my mother-in-law, she'll call me. She said, I have an appointment tomorrow. Okay, what's going on? His mom. Gotcha. And she'll say, I got this problem going on, and I want to talk to the doctor. So she and I will have a conversation. And I'll say, okay, when you go in, here are the things you need to ask, and here are the things you need to make sure you mention to the doctors so you can make sure your problems are actually addressed. Because a lot of times in the medical field, depending on what you tell your provider is how that plan of care is going to go directionally, Right. So these questions are leading up to a certain thing. So she's very good about it. And she'll always come back and say, you know what, Treva, I'm glad I talked to you because we talked about, she said the same thing you said. So what my mother-in-law does is she educates herself about what's going on before she goes. And now she's
Mm.
getting the type of results she wants because she's knowledgeable. And that's what we want to do, have people empowered about things so they can ask the right questions and get the type of answers that they're looking for.
Yeah, I've been doing that for years as far as with my parents.
Uh-huh.
They get all these medications and stuff like that. But, I mean, you can take the horse to the water.
Mhm.
Dang it. like anything that the VA gives my dad, he will take it.
Mm.
No.
Same.
No.
You should see my dad's like war chest of like medicine. I go, Dad, what is this? There's a lot of medicine.
They won't look over the side effects. They won't look over. They just all of that. So, there's only like so much you can do, because I could read over the side effects, tell them about it, and be like, oh well, I mean, I gotta take it. Like, okay.
But why, when he said he have to take it, but why does he have to?
Why?
Why does he feel he have to take it though?
And why understand it? Why that's not the only alternative you have.
It's not. Exactly. Or do you have to be on this particular medication for life? Because some people do that. They have to get a certain medication for life.
Correct.
I have to be on it for 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. I mean, but really, do you have to be on it for that long?
Yeah, and that's something I noticed with I just happened to realize that we were both on the same. Well, I was on a medication for like, I want to say a month, and my GI doctor said you shouldn't be on it no longer than that because of da 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 da. And then my dad was like, "Well, I've been on it for 15 years." I'm like, "But like what?"
Exactly. And so anyway, I
guess with them, I can say something, but at the end of the day, whatever the VA says, he's gonna go by it.
Yeah.
And he may be watching right now from the hospital. Hey, Dad.
Is he in the hospital?
He's in the hospital now. Yeah, so he's been out of the hospital for the past couple months. So yeah.
Well, I hope he's doing okay.
Yeah. He's have you ever heard of ESBL?
Yes.
What is it?
ESBL. They're treating him for that right now.
The sickness?
Yeah. So, but anyway, hopefully, people that do watch will realize that everything that a doctor gives you, like you have to. I'll do research and I'll ask questions about stuff that there's plenty of times where doctors giving me something. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Let me either talk to somebody else about it, get a second opinion, or I'm gonna read up myself. My concern too is kickback. Are you familiar with that? Like some doctors try to push medication because they'll get kickbacks on the medication.
Yes.
The pharmaceutical companies.
I've heard of it. I mean, I have not witnessed it personally. I don't think the doctors that I did work with were involved in that. But I will say this, that people don't realize that doctors are trained to manage your conditions. They're not trained to necessarily cure your condition. So some things can be cured, some things must be managed. Everything, some people need medication, so you cannot, sometimes just go off of medication cold turkey. Because it can be a life or death.
Especially if it's something that is like mental health stuff. They have to be weaned off. And I learned that the hard way with my daughter when she was 11. We were in Japan and they had put her on something that she wasn't supposed to be on. But at that time I didn't know, and I didn't do the research that I should have done. But because of that instance right there, man, I always done some research after that. For because it was VA.
I think with a lot of us who deal with the VA or even military health, and now with people getting out of the Air Force or getting out of the military, we do these hospital visits, and we try to get our disability, and especially the older folks, from our boomers to the Gen X to now the millennials, we're getting out, and they have so many doctors, so many ailments, and so many medicine, but
Mhm.
you don't have a specialized like doctor looking at, oh, let me see what you all taking and
Correct.
making sure like, no, you can't take that because this will this will give you you be shedding for days or something like that, and then or you be gaining weight, or this will give you gout foot or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And but all we're realizing to ourselves, like, I just want 100%, I just want 90%, I just want 80%, and I just want to keep my disability and disability. At the end of the day, it's actually hurting us more than it is trying to heal us, because
Right.
now we're dependent. And of course, same thing with pain. And so I've heard about consulting about health, but
Yeah.
man, I know that you guys, it just clicking now, like, man, the health crisis that we have now, and especially in the US,
Mhm.
where some doctors are all about the kickbacks and just prescribing whatever or trying to get you out the door, not understanding that the patient has other medicine or other healthcare stuff that may hurt them at the end of the day. And this is where you guys kind of come in and say, give me all what you got.
Yeah.
Let me look at it. Let me
Yeah.
help you coach. Oh, yeah, this is correct. And
Mhm.
so,
Right.
and I go back to like having like a, like a lawyer, understanding the
Mhm.
laws and all the
Yeah.
rules
Right.
and your
Definitely
case.
on.
So that's where you guys come in as the experts and say, let me look at what you have and let me say, yes, this is good, and yes, this is no. Now that I found you, so for example, if I'm a patient, I found you now, what
Mhm.
are like the first steps? So walk us through with this. What say, hey, yes, I need help. This is my stuff.
So the first step usually is people will fill out their information, try to figure out what are they needing help with. Do they need help with their health, or do they need help with their parents or their aging loved ones' help, the senior side of it? So going through a questionnaire and doing that. For myself, I get people and I go through a medical history with them, and then I will touch on some of those psychosocial things too, and then we'll proceed to help them from that point there. As far as doing things, I never stop. Like, if a doctor tells someone to do something, then I don't tell them not to do that, not to do it, right? But I arm them with the right information so they can make informed decisions along with their provider
Exactly.
to make a decision for their health according to what they want. I have a client I work with, and she came to me. Her A1C, which is the number we look at for diabetes, was like 10. And, in order for you to get diagnosed with diabetes, usually that number is 6.5 or higher.
Mm.
Her doctor, she was angry with her doctor because the doctor was basically saying, hey, you're going to die. You're going to have this issue, that problem, if you don't take medicine. She'd done her research. She's like, I'm not taking metformin. I'm not taking this medicine. I don't want to do that. So, and then she, shared that she had went on vacation and, they had eaten probably a little bit more than she should have eaten and all of those things. So we worked together and we got her A1C down to 7. And, from 10 to 7, just by doing lifestyle changes and doing all of those things to help monitor it. And then, giving her other options and alternatives that could potentially help her to lower it even further.
Mm.
Nice.
Yeah. And as far as senior care, the part that I bring to your health their way is that Treva, sometimes it'll come from Treva, sometimes we'll have somebody just call in just for a questionnaire. So what I do is I have like a 15-minute consultation with them to find out, hey, what is it that you guys are, what do you guys want to do with your mom, your dad, or whatever family member it is. After that, I'll take the notes down and I'll get back with them probably within a day, within 24 hours, so we can come up with some type of plan of what they want to do. Most of the time I get calls from people who is leaving the hospital and they say, hey, my mother, my dad, or my aunt, somebody has to go to rehab. Why are they sending to the nursing home? So I have to get them to understand that the nursing home is no longer just for long-term care. It's for short-term rehab as well. And so I get them to understand that, hey, because you're not going to go to what they call a long-term acute care. It's called an LTAC. Unless your mom, your dad, or whoever can do at least 3 hours of rehab. If they can't do 3 hours of rehab, they would have to go. And I'm not sure how it is in other states, but I did my research and it's pretty much the same. So they would have to go to a skilled nursing facility to do rehab. And then they have no idea, because no, I would be honest with you. Before I started doing this, I had no idea that what it all entails to go through rehab. Or if I had my mother to go through rehab and I wasn't even in this industry, I would just be lost. I would be terrified because it's a lot of things that you have to do. The admission paperwork. They don't know the insurance part, how many days that someone can do rehab. So we coach them on that part as well. And then once they leave from rehab, they go home with home health, or they can't go home with home health. They go home with hospice if that's not the case, but they'll go home with hospice with home health plus some type of DME equipment. So we kind of like show them the ways to do that. If they can go home with provider services, which is provided by it's a Medicaid product that will pay for someone to have maybe 20 to 40 hours of help at home.
Yeah, that's my dad. He was having home health nurses come in, and they were the ones that I guess when they tested him, they were able to get him to the hospital, tell him to go to the hospital because of like the way his test came out. But yeah, the home health nurses, they normally have like occupational therapists, the physical therapists, and stuff like that. It's a good. I think it's a good service that they provide. And as you were saying earlier about how some doctors or hospitals herd people in and out like cattle, that's how I feel like the VA can be sometimes. Just like, if you tell them something, they're gonna treat you. If they tell them that if you tell them that
whatever you tell them,
if you tell them your nose is runny, they're gonna give you something for your nose, and then
and that's
rheumatism. They put some rheumatism in there.
And that's it. And
it doesn't mean that you have to take it, but
and some Motrin. I brought home Motrin.
Definitely Motrin.
You're gonna get a prescription, and they give a lot of medicine out too. And one of the things, a lot of these electronic medical records have the ability to communicate. So like, I might have one that I use, and he may be, as a provider, has use a different one. They communicate, and they'll kind of say, well, Carla's had these medications prescribed on these days. Well, the VA is almost like a blackout. Now, I haven't personally come across any EMRs that will show the patient's information. So, and what I'm saying is, when you're in the private insurance, you don't see what they're taking. So if they don't come with that medicine in hand and say, I'm on X, Y, and Z, then you don't know that they're taking these medicines because they forgot to mention I'm a vet and I go to the VA too. So they're utilizing both the VA and private insurance, and they forget. So it's all of those things, and that patient education is so very important. I do some home consulting or work for some insurance companies, and one of the things that we do with that for that particular job is I go through medications. And last week I went to visit a lady at her house, and we were going through her medicines, and I was asking her, how often are you taking your medicine? So she had 5 prescriptions, and each of these medications were 90-day prescriptions. And these were things like for diabetes, heart medicine, thyroid medication, and all these vital things. Well, this was an elderly lady, and her medicines were written last year in September. And I'm asking her, are you taking your medicine? Oh, yeah, I take it every day. And I'm like, have you had any refill? Like, have you had any refills?
If it was for 90 days, yeah.
If it was for 90 days, this is June. You shouldn't have any left. So to make a long story short, I had to call the pharmacy. I had to call her doctor and say, hey, your patient, and the doctor didn't know that because they'll tell the doctor one thing and something else is actually happening. So she had mixed her thyroid medication up. So she had 2 or 3 doses in one bottle. They had different colored pills in the one bottle. And I'm like, so what are you taking? Oh, I just take a pill. And for people not to know with thyroid medication, when you have an underactive thyroid, when doctors give you the replacement, the dosages are dependent on your blood work. So like if you're taking a dose and it's not coming up to where it needs, they'll increase it. Well, if you're not taking it, then it seems like the medicine is not working and you're getting more and more medicine, which can become problematic. So she was like, don't call my daughter. We called the pharmacy, the doctor, and I called her daughter next to say, hey, you're gonna have to do your mama's business. So that is a thing, huh? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the seniors don't want to lose their independence, and you want to allow them to age in place. But anyone out there that have parents that are still living, and it behooves you just to ask questions and to find out what's happening, because I promise you, they're hiding things. They're hiding.
Yeah, and they're not gonna. Yeah, and one thing I have noticed is they're not gonna always listen to your advice. So you just kind of have to, let it go and love them where they at. Not let it go completely. You can still ask questions, but I'm like, look, I said I can't help y'all if y'all don't want to help yourself.
Yeah,
We try to, but I mean, they just don't.
But even in that case, like what Treva was explaining, but even in that case, maybe the daughter didn't know that her mom was needing medication, or hey, it's not
right.
But why did the doctor have any kind of knowledge that his patient ran out of medication?
Exactly, because it seems like it would trigger on a lot. I've had services before where if I didn't refill my medication at the time that I was on, they would call and ask me about it.
Exactly.
So
they're busy
like that too.
Yeah.
So you do.
Everybody's like busy working or
they're
busy watching, soap operas. I mean, it's a lot of things.
Whatever.
So it's so many different facets to this one stone, right? Everybody, there's the patient themselves that's hiding things or not knowledgeable.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's the pharmacy sometimes that are missing things that they should catch. If the doctor makes a mistake, the pharmacy should catch it. Sometimes they don't catch it. So there's all these things, and then you have like I said, people just sometimes they're in denial about what's going on. So it just becomes problematic. So everybody gets tired. The doctor's tired, the patient's tired, the adult children are tired.
Yeah.
So you just got a bunch of tired people.
Yeah, and sometimes they just don't know how to ask the question. That's the
exactly
issues that my mother has run into. She'll say sometimes she don't know what to ask him or how to ask him it or
So the first step was go through a survey, and now I hear Vincent, I hear Treva, like, okay, I like what I hear. Okay, so who covers this? that's the next part, right? Who's paying? Who's covering? What do we do next? Because your survey, it's free, right? Once you're asking all these questions and all that, right? Is there a fee for the consultation or?
Yes and no. For that initial 15-minute consultation, it's free, and that's really just trying to figure out what your needs are. Now, as we begin to delve into the consultation, then there are fees attached to that. Currently, we do not take insurance, and the reason we don't take insurance is so we can have that time that we need to find out this information, for the clients that we're working with. So that's kind of how we are structured wise, price wise for now.
Okay. So after you talk about that, and then here's a consultation, you're going to help me now. Is there like a long process, or is like a time limit within that the starting of like, okay, you sign like a waiver, you sign all the information, you pay, blah blah blah, and then is it like a 30-day, 90-day, or are you with them periodically, like throughout the year?
It depends. It depends on what their needs are. So we have several options for people. A lot of those options are customizable according to what they need. Like for me, if someone comes to me and they want to lose weight, then that can be minimum. I ask them to do it for 3 months at minimum. Depending on how much weight you have to lose, that can be 3 months to a whole entire year, because it takes time to do all of those things. When you focus on weight, if they have other comorbid, like other conditions like high blood pressure and diabetes, then some of those things are going to be improved just by addressing your habits and making those changes. And then for Vincent, if they're looking for short-term care, long-term care, then that would matter, because most people, like for short-term care,
short-term rehab is mostly like 20 days. So I'll try to plan for them for 20 days, and we'll go from there. If they're looking for a more long-term solution, if they're going, if their parents are going home and, hey, I need someone to look after my mom. So then we delve into something even long-term. So that's how that particular price is structured.
What is the biggest challenge for families navigating through, like, long-term or short-term care?
Now I would say the knowledge that, well, let's say this. They don't know anything, or they don't know a lot about long-term care. Let's say that. They don't know a lot about Medicare. They don't know what Medicare covers. They don't know about what Medicaid. They don't know what Medicaid covers. Because some people come in and think that Medicaid is going to cover everything, which that's not the truth. Some people believe that, hey, because I got Medicare is going to cover everything, which that is not true as well. So it's the education piece that we have to educate them on what they can cover and what they won't cover. That's the biggest hurdle that we got to go across first. But then once they learn what they can and cannot do with that, or how we can make both of them work for them, then it's easy street after that.
Gotcha.
Because it's not a problem until it's a problem.
Yeah, it's not a problem until it's a problem. Believe me.
Yeah.
Mama fell and broke her hip. So now you're
the
scrambling because the hospital is saying you can't stay here. We've fixed her hip. Now we're sending her home. Well, she can't go home because she can't walk.
Yeah.
So now what do I do? Now I have to shift things around to figure out this next piece. Is she going to go to rehab and do 21 days and go home? Or is she going to go 21 days and then get admitted to a nursing home or a senior living facility to live there as on a more permanent basis?
Yeah.
Because she can't live alone anymore.
Yeah, they're trying to kick her out and use that bed for something else.
But you got hospice,
I got another question too. On the opposite end of the spectrum, what would y'all say is the main problem with people not learning this information? As far as, oh well, I'll be able to handle it, or I got stuff going on with the hospital. I just won't pay them or whatever like that too. I mean, because sometimes people will do that. I mean, what's like even Coach Anthony, you probably know as well. What are some of the misconceptions or even the I guess the myths that come with people not really knowing where to go or get that consultation after they're just told to take a whole bunch of pills? Because a lot of people don't really focus on, okay, well, I can do this now and I get rid of this. But you're taking a pill and then you're adding 3 more things to what you're going through now.
Well, see, I think they try to rely more on the some people may try to rely more on the pharmacist advice and that big thick pamphlet that comes in. So
what I was going to say, I think that sometimes it's overwhelming, right? Sometimes you hear so much things that people keep saying, eat better, lose weight. It kind of becomes a song, kind of like I grew up behind a railroad track, right? So trains, when you've heard them so much, they're there, but you've learned to tune them out. So I can be doing something and the train can be on the track. And now, even where we live at now, if a train is passing, I could feel the vibrations of the train. And he's like, how do you know that? I'm like, because it's second nature to me. There's a train passing, but we don't hear it. But when I go to visit my parents, we don't even hear the train blowing anymore. So you kind of hear these things and you hear it until you no longer are paying attention. And it's not a problem until it's a problem. And that is, and what I mean by that is, let's take a diabetic, for instance. You've gone years with the doctor saying you need to change your diet, change your habits, your blood sugar is uncontrolled, and you just do this song and dance. And then until you hit that wall, crash and burn, you've had a stroke, you've had to get a leg or a limb or a toe amputated or something else. And now you see that this is real because it's become more real, right? And now you're ready to make those changes and do some things to try to mitigate some of the effects of long-term effects of these problems. So it is it's a challenge, just overall challenge. It is.
I mean, it means a battle. I mean, as far as we got Coach Anthony here about financial education and health education, and I guarantee. Along with financial education, health education is like the last of my worries. And like you said, I'm only worried until I can't stand the pain anymore. For example, during COVID, dude, my filling came out. I was like, man, I'm not gonna see a dentist. So I had a big gaping hole in my teeth. 2 years later, I was in pain. Like I was hurting, like, really in pain. I tried salt. I did, all kinds of stuff to mitigate, frequencies to mitigate pain. And then I finally went to the dentist and I said, dude, you need a, what do you call that? A root canal.
A root canal.
$4,000 later, but I'm thankful that I went through it and I got through. But like I just went through 2 years of like, pushing it off. But if I had a consultant and say, hey man, you got to take care of this now, like right now, and this is what you need to take, this is what you need to do, and all that. But the important thing too also is like, okay, I want to do this, Vincent and Treva, but man, I just don't have the funds. I don't know. I don't have the insurance. I don't have the funds, and I'm just getting VA stuff. So what do you do when someone like, I really need to help this person, but they're just not in the right financial situation to help themselves, pretty much.
Now there are times where I have worked with someone and hey, we worked out an arrangement. Let's just say we worked out an arrangement, but when anyone come with us, we feel obligated. We feel the need because that's what we do. We help people, right? So we help people no matter what. We just believe that, hey, and I'm not going to get all churchy with you guys, but our blessings will come. I would say that. I mean, because it doesn't make no sense for me to have a business, have a service, and I can't serve the people that I'm trying to serve. So we have had that instance that has happened before that we've helped other people. It's not all about the money. It's about us helping people. And because we are in business to make money, I would definitely say yeah. But we have we've helped a few people that didn't have the means to pay for it.
Right.
But also when we come to long term, when we come to senior care, right? If someone needs home health and they don't know how to get the home health, I walk them through the process. Hospice, if they're trying to figure out a terminal illness that their parent may have a terminal illness, we'll do hospice. I mean, it's a lot of things that we do that's not monetary. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So I do have a question about estate planning. So a lot of people have they talk about it, but haven't done it yet. And health is one of those key parts that is very, I guess you say it's a big key inside the estate planning. So what should somebody do as the sandwich generation? Go ahead on and start planning out for their parents and even themselves. What is the number one thing that, or not thing, but like, is there like a checklist that you guys already have available for people to add for their estate planning portfolio?
You know what, with that particular thing with estate plan, we can talk to them a lot about it. Not a lot, well, of as much knowledge as I know, but I also recommend them to different estate planners who do it every day. But I would say this to your viewers and you guys as well. If you haven't looked into your mom, your dad, or whoever's, let's say, advanced directors or even their estate planning, you may want to do that as soon as possible, because you never know, things turn on a dime and it happens so fast till you may not think it's going to happen to you today, but you never know what tomorrow brings. And like I say, when I sit in the seat that I sit in, I hear the same story all the time, where my mom was just in a garden 2 days ago and she had a stroke, and now they don't know if she has a insurance policy. They don't know if the insurance covers this. They don't know if she own a home, if she wants to be DNR, she wants to be a full co. I mean, it's a lot that, like I said, for you guys, if you know any people, I mean, they may want to get a head start on it.
Yeah, and also if you are one of multiple children, adult children,
that's another.
Having or appointing one of those children to be your medical power of attorney to make your medical decisions is the one thing that they should do. And having another child over your finances as your financial power of attorney, I probably wouldn't recommend for that one person to be both things, right? And so the reason being, there's always confusion that comes along when you have multiple kids involved, because if mom's not doing well, then one kid may say, yeah, let's go on and withdraw care from her, and the other one wants to keep her alive. So now it becomes a battle of what's what, because who's the one that's in charge to make that decision? But a medical power of attorney can say, yeah, mom said if this happens, then I want this to happen. So they'll follow that guide, even though it's hard. They'll follow it to take, to carry out the wishes of their mom or dad or loved one. But it is critical to have that conversation for the estate planning. I've had that conversation with my parents. Like, listen, y'all, we have to have this conversation because y'all, you have property, you have assets, you have these things. Not just that part, but the medical part of it is very, very important. Had surgery a few years ago, and they asked me to fill out an advance directive, which is you saying what you want to happen. So I love my mom and my sister to death, but I will not put them in charge of making a decision like that because they're gonna keep me alive at all costs. Like no matter what. So I put, of course, Vincent was my first person, and then if not him, then my dad, to make that decision, because men and women were different. Men think sometimes more practical, and women sometimes we're more emotional on things. So that was the decision that I made. I want them to decide for me, or make that decision for me. So yeah, it's definitely important to do that estate planning.
Now, because you guys are located in Texas, so it's like, say if you're out of state folks, so say if somebody's coming down to visit on vacation and then they become ill, like, do you guys recommend for them to kind of reach back to their people in their home state, or do you guys try to figure out how they can get help in in Texas,
their state,
where they at now?
You meaning with the state planning, or just with healthcare in particular?
Just healthcare in particular.
Well, usually if they're visiting and you are somewhere and you get sick, you go to the local hospital, they're going to treat you, keep you, manage you, stabilize you, and then once you're better, they're going to send you back home if you're able to.
Like, now, you don't get up out of here. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we have a client that we work with, right? And she called this client became a client of ours through a mutual friend. So she called me to ask me a medical question about the young man, and asking, okay, he had this problem going on. What can we do? What kind of medicine can we ask for to help treat this condition? These were the questions that I was being asked. So I told her what to ask for, explain all of that. So then I asked her, I said, so what's going on with this young man? This young man was in his early 20s, had diabetes and some complications of it. And he was in Louisiana at the time. And the doctors in Louisiana were pretty much ready to withdraw care, from this child, basically saying we can't do nothing else for him. So I made the suggestion and a recommendation, maybe I should get a second opinion. At this point, let's get a second opinion. So I set the wheels in motion. I told her what to do, how to start this off, getting insurance contact with the insurance company to get this child prepared to be moved to Texas. And then I handed it over to Vincent, and then he took the reins, and we got this young man moved here to Texas, and he went from being in bed, not moving, to being able to sit up in the wheelchair, to talking. His mom heard him speak in years. In about a year or two, he hadn't spoken because he'd had so many things to happen. So, sometimes it just depends on the complexity of the problem, Anthony, to your point. If it's something simple, you're going to be treated and sent home. But if it's something that's not so simple, then they'll have to make those decisions based on what can be done, what the insurance will cover. Most times they'll move you back locally to where you can go and finish getting the care that you need.
Yes.
Yeah, I was looking up on the side just to kind of, I'm sorry.
No, just to piggyback on what Treva was saying again. I know you had the question about if someone was out of state. Right now, this family is still in Texas. Actually, they're still in Texas, living in Texas. The son is doing weight. When I know Treva told you guys the story, but I mean, Louisiana they was ready to write him off like he was going to die. But the mother didn't want to give up on the child. So we did bring the child to Houston, got him into the medical center, I'm not going to say the hospitals, but went through a few hospital systems. And now the kid is at home. Actually, he wasn't walking. He had tubes all through him. But now the kid is actually in his motorized wheelchair. He can speak to his mother. He's going to different appointments now. But The mother don't want to move back to Louisiana just yet because of the care that he's getting here. And well, not here. Me and Treva on vacation, but she don't want to move him back to Louisiana right now. But like I said, it was I tell you, that was one of our best testimonies. And number one, we're gonna try to get her to do a big testimony on our website. But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, because I was looking up the advanced direct, because I'd never heard of it before because I'm not in the hospital. So I looked up the advanced directives, and it seemed like each state has their own, so you can actually download a free copy of it just to look at it ahead of time. And I think it'll be good to have just to open up that conversation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. It sets the tone for what it is that you're doing too. So especially if you have a parent that's aging, you know, like I said, find out what your parents want. You know, you don't. Sometimes we don't know when it's time to let go. We don't know when it's time to make that transition either. Like if they're sick, is it time to continue keeping them doing one thing, or is it time to put them on hospice? And hospice is not always a death sentence. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting them on hospice so they can get the things that they need and the care that they need, and kind of that palliative care state, meaning to keep them comfortable and not doing a lot of extra things that are unnecessary at this point.
Right.
So when do you bring up this conversation?
So when they call for that consultation, and you know,
that's one of the questions.
That's one of the questions we're asking, because again, if mom's 95 and you have doctors that are aggressively treating her, and when I say that, because not all people are created equally, right? You might have a 95-year-old that's vibrant, full of life, still within their right mind, still driving, still doing all the things. Then that person can say, yeah, I'm not ready to stop yet, right? So that 95-year-old compared to one that's in bed, can't walk, can't talk, being tube fed, and the children are still aggressively trying to get stuff done for this 95-year-old, well, it may be time to stop letting them try to prevent things and just let life take its course, and you make him comfortable in the process of doing that.
That makes sense.
Right.
I got a quick question too. Do y'all find it easier to get information from the older generation as opposed to the older generation talking to their children?
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah, because when you come in from a place of I'm not going to say per se authority, but you're coming in with the more objective view, right? When you're close to somebody, they don't listen to you, because I've heard it all before from you. But if someone comes in, a complete stranger, and says the same exact thing that you just said 5 minutes ago, it's like magic, you know. So you got somebody who don't have any skin in the game saying, hey, y'all, maybe we should consider this and this, or here are some options to consider if y'all hadn't thought about it. So just having that conversation, it really does matter. It matters.
So would it be okay, because I like to go on vacations to learn things, you know, to kind of build an experience and have life. So I was thinking, maybe, just maybe, say if somebody's listening, asking for a friend here, is if it okay that can take a trip down to Texas as a vacation and just show up at your clinic and like, hey, we here for the consultation.
Hey, come
Absolutely.
on.
He'll walk in.
Do a walk in.
Right. I was like, I got enough credit card points to bring mom along. I mean, they have enough credit card points to bring, you know.
Yeah. Take walk in.
Emotional, damn it.
So do you talk a lot about preventive medicine or preventive care to your clients and stuff like that? Because that's something that I talk to my parents about, you know, when it comes to like, why do you have high blood pressure?
Yeah.
Pig feet and pig ears in a crock pot.
Yes.
Not a good idea.
Yes.
But now, you know, just like, you know, tweaking like the prepackaged stuff and the microwavable stuff sometimes, but I know it's easier for them.
Right.
But at the same time, it's not always good for them.
Correct. So my first love is health and wellness. Prevention is always key. So even if someone comes in, and again, if they're coming in for weight loss, I'm asking a woman, have you had your mammogram with your doctor? Have you had your female exam, or have you had this done? Or if not, here are the things you're supposed to have done. And this is by this age, it should be done. So it's always important. I think our mindset plays a major role on what we're willing to receive and take in and understand.
Right.
So with my parents, my dad is more health conscious. He's the reason why I'm into health. Whereas my mom, the doctor said, take it, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Period.
Right. Just put some Vicks on, you're good to go, right?
There you go.
No questions asked.
Vicks on the feet.
Exactly. On the other hand, he's like, well, he said take this, but I'm not doing that. I'm gonna try garlic instead. Let me see if I can get some vegetables grown in the garden and eat that, and then I'll come back to this medicine after the fact.
Right on.
And I'm gonna take some ivermectin. That should help. Can we really put bleach in our blood? I mean, is that also affect us?
Right.
So with that said, what's the funniest misunderstanding or question, or have you ever encountered?
Ooh,
besides ivermectin.
I'm trying to think of what's funny or not so funny.
Blue Chew, hymns. What was the best?
You're
He's
the
asking
second
for
person to
himself.
mention Blue Chews in the past week.
Please do not get him on Blue
Hey,
do not get him started on the Blue Chew.
I literally
look at here.
talk about that. Just one of my patients asked what they were taking. They said, I'm taking Blue Chews. I'm like, what is a Blue Chew? What is that?
Oh my God!
But I know it is. I'll tell you a story that I encountered when I was in school training. I had I'm trying to remember an older gentleman was coming in getting Viagra. So Blue Chews, okay, Blue Chews, whatever. And what it was that, and I didn't know this now again because coming in and getting Viagra, telling the doctor's not working, and doctors increasing his medicine and giving him more. Well, what this young man was doing, he was selling this Viagra on the street. So he had a variety of medicine that he could sell to the people. So you got all of these things that you're contending with when you're prescribing medications for people, because not all people that come in and ask for stuff have an issue. And they can come in for stuff and ask for things that they don't necessarily need, but they're asking for somebody else. Sometimes if they don't have insurance or they have a family member that can't afford it, they'll come and ask to get it on their end. So you have all of these things, and that's why those questions are very important to find out why.
So this is basically a blend of medication and morality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you ever
confidence?
Have you ever experienced like a hypochondriac, like a true hypochondriac?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've actually taken care of a child. This child had taken care of this child for a long time. When I worked as a nurse in the hospital, I worked pediatrics, and this particular child, the mom had conjured up a story with this kid, and I took care of this child. And when I had him that particular day, mom had me get this child moved to the ICU, because for me, a parent that's taking care of a child, if a parent says Mikey doesn't look the same, then I'm gonna believe what that parent says in terms of different things based on what I see plus what that parent's giving me. Well, he got moved to the ICU and did, a whole workup was being done. Probably a few weeks or a few months later, I saw on the news where his mom got arrested because this child, when they took the feeding tube off and all of these things, nothing was wrong with him at all. No more than the mom had Munchausen syndrome and was making up things for the doctors to do for this child.
Oh man!
The mother can be substantiated based on the physical findings. So yeah.
There was a story that I was watching last week on Dateline or something like that, and the lady had actually killed her child. She gave him she was giving him a high dose of salt, like sodium, and she had moved from like different states, and the child was hospitalized, and she finally moved to New York into the safe community and stuff like that. And they were saying how chipper the child was until one day he went to the hospital because he was in and out of the hospital. And like you said, the mother had conjured up a story and would say, "Oh, my child has this, my child has that, my child has, whatever." and the doctors just couldn't find anything. So they were like, that day they were going to send him home. And to make a long story short, you could see them on camera where they go to the bathroom. She gives the child some kind of like salt solution or something like that, and in minutes, like the child ended up passing away.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's like the worst stories. Like,
yeah,
man.
like what was it? Gypsy Rose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I was like, there's parents out here really doing that to their kids, and that's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, they do. And with your hypochondriacs, how do I handle them? Usually, I listen to what they have to say, and I usually will try to calm their worries and concerns and give them the facts on things. Some things you can't, not say you can't, but most people, if you're having, if you have blockage in your chest, then you're probably headed towards a heart attack. Sometimes you have warning. Now there are some chances where there aren't any warnings, but our bodies are very, very intuitive. Sometimes we ignore those warnings when the flashing lights are going off. So we do have some that we will encounter, and we work with them to get past those things and those fears.
Yeah, exactly. And Carl, I know you said something. I know we run out of time, but I know Carla asked a question about preventative health. One of the things that we do as far as preventative health, and we are running a special program right now that Treva she has worked out with a trainer out out of another state, but we're doing it virtually. I'll let her tell us the.
Yeah, we partnered with a company called T2 Fitness, and a part of that health and wellness piece to kind of address some of those additional things that affect people. It is a trainer, a trainer that's coming that's going to help with exercise 2 days a week. And then the third day we'll have like a nutritionist or a life coach that's teaching things on how to prepare your foods, maybe going through what food and how food actually affects the body. And life coaching is affecting those behavior patterns that we all have. We all have habits that we're not so proud of, but when you have someone working alongside of you, you don't feel so alienated like you're the only one, because it's universal most times in nature. So that virtual health program is good. It's going to be good, I think, for people to come alongside of us and get on board to get their health in order and to learn the things that they need to learn so they could be healthier and maintain their health for a lifetime and not just for a moment in time.
Right. Like a change of lifestyle for the better.
Correct. Change of lifestyle. Exactly.
All right. Well, man, we can go on for days, and actually, I might have to talk to you guys after this because my dad he got a lot of medicine. So I got to take a picture. I got to do consult. So before we wrap up, what's one piece of advice? And I talked a lot about advice, but an insight you would like your listeners to take away from this total conversation, because I know healthcare, financial care, and mental health care, it all kind of comes together. What would be your takeaway from this conversation?
For me, I would say for people, you don't want to dig your grave with a knife and fork. You want to make sure that you are putting your health first, asking those questions. And when you don't know what to ask, then find someone that you can ask, like us, and help yourself, basically, to get the answers and the knowledge that you need so you can be in better health or your best health now.
Yeah. And as far as myself, I would say be in tune with the finances that goes along with your parents or anybody who's ailing. Let's say if they're elderly, take a look at their advance directives. Try to plan for estate planning. Just look at that. If you guys don't, and I'm just going to say anybody, if they don't know anything about long-term care, short-term care, rehab, even some of the ancillary services that they can receive in the community, actually, they can get in touch with me and I can help them. I'll lead in the right way. I'll tell them.
All right.
Awesome. So your website is yourhealthyourwaycoaching.com.
That's correct.
Yes.
And that is the best way to contact you, reach you, and start doing the survey with you guys?
Yes.
So there's a contact link on there they can fill out and it'll come to us, and we will contact them to set up a consultation, or they can text us, call us at 281-698-5685. 888-885-5331.
Perfect. Vincent, Treva Mitchell from Your Health, Your Way, balancing family, health, and life. Get up, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being our guest today, man. We can go another hour if you want to.
Not on that vacation.
We can talk about this all day long.
And it's free now.
We talk about it all day long as well. We do. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, we want you back. We want to invite you guys back because I know this is a great topic to talk about. And then people who's going to find out about this YouTube, they're going to ask you more information. And so we invite you back again. Thank you so much for being so patient with us and giving all this great information, man.
Thank you guys for having us.
Hey, Hill, I definitely appreciate you inviting us. We like I say, it's forever grateful. Trust me. I know that, you know, I honestly, me and Hill was talking about it. I thought maybe we can try to do this maybe once a month.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about things that people don't normally talk about with healthcare. And it doesn't always have to be about your health, your way. It can just be topics that we can just come up and talk about.
Got it.
Yeah, we would love that.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys. Highway 54, Carla, D3, Coach Anthony, and myself, DJ Kid Mango. Don't forget about wallet. Of course, Vincent and Treva, Your Health, Your Way, coaching.com. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stick around, guys. Hold on.
We hope you enjoyed the show today. Do us a favor and click on the like button or share our podcast. Thanks for listening. Till next time, we are Highway 54.